podcast. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Travis Rookley, and as a special treat, we have the one and only Geoff Schwartz along for the ride as well. Jeff, what's up, man? How we doing?
Oh, glad to be here, man. We had a little week off. I feel like even for us, it was emotionally good to take the week off. It
It
was
really
nice
was.
to have that week off to enjoy the win and get ready to watch Oregon play this weekend.
Yeah, I completely agree. Travis, how you doing, man?
Good, good. I feel like we were just saying that yesterday. Like
I know we were.
little week cleanser. Get to watch some other
Yeah.
football where you're not living and dying with every play. So ready to get back to it.
Absolutely. If you are tuned in live, thank you. Just a reminder that we'll be taking questions as best as we can throughout this episode. So if you have anything to ask Jeff or Travis or myself, fire away in the comments and we're going to try and get to you. Just a reminder, Travis and I put out our full Indiana preview earlier today as we record this on Wednesday. We've also got an awesome alumni corner with Keenan Howry coming later this week. So be sure to check out that one when it drops. For the most part today, we want to use this as a bit of a mid-season check-in with the Ducks. We are virtually at the midway point of the year. I know we're not technically right there, but close enough. So it felt like a good time to take a beat and assess how we got here. To do that, we're going to go through position by position and break down what we've seen so far and what we want to see more of going forward. So good, you guys?
Yep, let's do it.
Sounds great.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Basically, what we're going to ask is, what is the best thing you've seen so far from this position group, and what do you want to see more of going forward? Let's start with the quarterbacks. Jeff, what is the best thing you've seen so far?
I mean, I think the best thing we've seen from Dante Moore is just making the right decision, right? Like the way the offense is set up, there are right decisions and wrong decisions. It's not a lot of sometimes like figuring out where the ball is going to go. It's a West Coast offense. It's supposed to go to certain places at the snap. And I mean, outside of that one throw against Penn State where he got fooled, and then the DN dropped all the way basically back. I mean, almost we saw Monday Night Football. Mahomes got fooled too, right? When Lloyd dropped out. Outside of that, it's just been so under control, right? And then in the Penn State game, they asked him to do a little bit more in the run game, which is not what he does well. It's not his thing, but you need 1 or 2 yards. It's a great way to get it. And so just to me, that's what I've been most excited to see. And I think he's completing nearly 80% of passes against zone defense, right? Just again, taking what the defense gives him. And that composure against Penn State, man, no false starts with the offensive line, no communication issues with anyone up front or with Dante Moore. He was just so under control.
Travis, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of to piggyback back off that, how like clean the operation has been, how varied the operation has been. I mean, you've seen new quarterbacks in new systems sometimes take a little bit to get going. You've seen quarterbacks kind of have the training wheels on them. You've even seen that a little bit with like Julian saying so far at Ohio State. I feel like he's taken until last weekend to like run the full offense or have the real playbook, even though he has a crazy wide receiver talent. Like I feel like Dante has been in command from day one. They've been running so many varied sets. I mean, clearly the whole playbook at his disposal. And I think it's just a credit to the year him and Will Stein clearly had to like develop that rapport, figure out what Dante likes. We've seen a ton more like under center, a lot more play action out of that. So I think just like how varied and complete the offense has looked under Dante has been really impressive to me.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think what the one thing that I took away the most of this year is just, against Penn State, we didn't know how we knew he's good, but seeing him be that good in that big of an environment and just like not shrinking in the moment, I think anyone can play in at home or against, in that Northwestern stadium. But when you see 111,000 people yelling at him and for him to play that well, I think that really impressed me the most. As far as running backs, Jeff, I'm curious what you have here.
Yeah, just
Oh,
more
actually,
hill,
wait, did we
please.
we didn't go back to what we want to see more of
Yeah.
with quarterback?
I There were just a couple plays of game he misses. I mean, it's such nitpicky, right? Like he just, there was a guy. I think Sadiq was actually open against Penn State for a touchdown. We scored that on that drive, but just like stuff like that. Again, it's so picky. He's the one thing that's that I want to stress enough about like this offense, and it's important to note because I've been doing some Joe Moore Award watching of other offensive lines and just sort of honing in on what's happening around the rest of the sport. And like the Oregon system is so pro based, and the protections, the routes, what Moore is asked to do. It's why Bo Nix and really Dylan Gabriel last weekend, and these guys come in, they're like ready to play immediately. It's not like that other places. And I think that's important to notice. He's handling a lot. He's doing the protections. He's, the route, he's figuring out where guys are going. He's making checks. Like he's doing a full command of the offense. So I think just a continued mastery of that offense, right? That's basically what I want to see. He's not missing a ton of guys. There was a comment in the Northwestern game. He missed a guy. I actually didn't think he really missed a guy. Like, I mean, it's just sort of that type of thing, right? We're like, just maybe here and there, a couple better plays, but otherwise, I don't think there's much to critique right now.
Travis, anything, or going on to running backs?
I mean, it's hard. The level he's playing at, given his experience and everything, it's hard to be super nitpicky. I mean, there's been a couple like 3rd and 4th downs this year where we've been like short of the chains, or he's gotten a little jumpy in the pocket. I feel like where we've had actually a clean pocket and we've had the ability to, we've ended a drive early because of that. I don't know. I mean, when I'm thinking about quarterback and something I want to see, I would just love to get in garbage time a little more this year and see what Austin Novosad like actually looks like. Unfortunately, he was dinged up those couple games early in the year, and like with the way Moore is trending, I mean, Geoff, you're more plugged into this than me. I've seen a lot of mock drafts with him getting a lot of buzz this year, and if it results in us, needing Novosad to be the guy next year, I'd love for him to have a little more experience going into that.
I hope he stays. I think the plan was always for him to stay, and it sometimes doesn't work out that way, right? I mean, you look at around the landscape right now. Look, Oregon's going to have to, essentially do what Ohio State did last year, to some extent Washington in 2023, and just say, hey guys, we're coming back for a title run. Like this, everyone's got to come back. It's hard to convince guys like Sadiq, I think, to come back, but maybe more, you can make the case that one more year of seasoning, like you can make some of those cases, I think, for some of those guys. But yeah, I mean, look, he plays well this weekend against a good defense. He's going up the draft board again. It's just what the nature of the beast, especially when the other quarterbacks, Klubnik and Sellers and Nesmar just haven't been as good as advertised.
Completely agree. Moving on to running backs, we said earlier, there's so much that we've seen. I mean, this group going 6-7 deep. What's the best thing that you've seen so far that you've liked the most?
More Hill. Just continue to give the ball to Hill. I mean, look, it's kind of crazy, right? When Mekhi Hughes signed with Oregon, we were like, oh my God, like this guy. And I did a film review for you guys. I think I mentioned a couple of things that, just watching him, I didn't know if he was as fast as maybe we thought he was, but a very good runner, right? And it turns out just maybe doesn't fit the offense, but also we have these 2 true freshmen that are playing a ton. And I think one of the coolest things, by the way, is Davidson is used a fullback a lot. He's just butting linebackers up. It's probably why they give him the ball so much on the goal line. His reward is like, you block for us, we'll give you some touchdowns. And then look, and Noah's still good. Like Noah's still good. Lamar is very tough. He's good in pass protection. He's just, to me, can't be your primary running back. But I get why he's playing, right? Because again, the offense requires the running backs to be where they're supposed to be, to know who they're blocking, to get out in a route concept, to be part of it. So I just been impressed with their ability to roll through. It's very hard to rotate running backs and have any sort of rhythm, I think. I don't terribly like it, but it's worked for us. So I've been pretty pleased. I think seeing Hill improve every week, like there was, when he played against Penn State, like he was clearly one of the better athletes on the field when he got the ball, right? It's very clear that he's a special type of player, even if he's not getting full reps now.
Geoff, when we talk about Hill, I know one of the conversations that Zach and I have had is like this kind of strategic use of him. And I know one idea I've had floated to me on why he's maybe not getting as many carries as some of us would love right now is they've been using Lamar and Whittington to kind of take more of those hits throughout the game, a little more of the interior run game, and then use Hill strategically on the outside. Do you see Hill as a guy that, like, are you hoping he'll turn into that, like, bell cow that's getting 20, 25 carries, or do you think this is his role to, like, use him the best way?
I hadn't thought about that, but you're absolutely right. That's what they do. Hill runs the ball outside the tackles. Essentially, that's all they call for him, right? Not much. They call a couple. Now, the Penn State game, he was playing well, so they did give him some runs between the tackles. But a lot of times those other running backs are taking those runs between tackles. And I think part of it too is the runs between the tackles take a little more feel and a little more like, okay, here's how the blocking is supposed to go. Here's the defense, like a little more pre-snap and then post-snap. Some of the outside zone stuff, it's like just run as fast as you can right to this gap. And like, there's not much, especially, and look, they have a fullback. Like, again, Davidson's played a lot with him, that two-back set. And I remember with Adrian Peterson, this is in 2012, okay? He rushed for 2,000 yards. We were 9 yards short of Eric Dickerson's record. But Adrian Peterson was not the best at reading what hole to run into, believe it or not. He loved the fullback because he followed the fullback. He just, if you watch a lot of those runs from that year, the big runs behind the fullback, he's great. Just full speed ahead. I'm following this guy. I'm using my athleticism, my strength. I'm going for, like, some guys just need that sometimes. And I hadn't thought about this, but a lot of the runs they use for him do tend to follow a fullback, a tight end, and they sort of are outside the tackles.
Interesting.
I feel it seems like that was I don't know if that formation has a name, but that was the first time I can remember against Penn State us lining up in that set where you had, I think it was Davison alongside Moore and then Hale split behind him. I think that was the first time I can remember. I don't know about you, Geoff or Zach, that you can remember Oregon using that formation.
Well, they did it to start the second half of Northwestern. Now, they didn't do it where they were like, almost was like a strong formation you would do it out of under center, right? Where they were, guy was next to, it's basically, that's what it was, strong and weak formation. But they did the two backs against Northwestern. They just haven't done that specific formation yet. It's really, again, it's just stretch essentially with a fullback, like stretch boss with a fullback. But, they're doing it with out of gun essentially, right? Instead of even pistol. So that's all it is. It's just an old school run, but they're dressing it up from shotgun. But also the two backs in the backfield, it kind of messes with teams. Like, they don't know how to defend it. They don't know what personnel to put in. And it worked really well against Penn State. I think those outside zone runs are going to be important against a team like Indiana, who's really good sort of in the middle of their defense.
Yeah, and Travis and I have talked about it before. I think that, one thing I want to see Deere get a little bit better with pass pro, just because I think that will allow him to be on the field a little bit more than he is right now. But that's something that's going to come with time. I mean, he's a true freshman. He's not going to have the pass blocking abilities that, Noah or Jaden do right now.
And teams will start scouting that, right? Like, you're going to have to put him in and pass the ball with him sometimes. And you can make it simpler in first down sort of situations where you might not get as much looks from the defense, because he's going to, if you only put him in to run the football, it's pretty obvious. And Oregon's a team that understands tendencies like that. I don't think they would do that. Yeah.
Let's go to wide receiver. What's the best thing that you've seen so far?
I mean, Moore is incredible. He's so good. So funny in training camp, not even training camp, spring ball and we heard about Moore, and everyone said, I knew people in Division Street that were like, this kid's different, man. He's different. And I kept saying, like, Dan Lanning's never played freshman. He's never played freshman offense. It's never been his thing. And they're like, no, just wait. And I think he's been everything as advertised. But I also think it's important to note, like, they've gone contributions from Gary Bryant and Benson. And Benson, kind of, and Bryant too, sort of like non-contributors where they've been. They're okay, but they're getting the most out of them. And then, we're seeing the depth pop up a little bit. But obviously, the Penn State game reminded us of, like, who the top guys are. I mean, they really didn't rotate at all in that game on offense.
They played four receivers.
Yeah, that was it. So who was the fourth? McClellan?
Yeah, McClellan.
Yeah. Yep. So I think that's it's been good to see sort of who the top is. I think the thing you would like to see more is just depth, right? You just want, I think they were trying to get some depth, right? I mean, Lowe, we know, can play. I should assume when he's healthy, he'll get some more. I would like to see more from Casper. I thought that we'd see a little bit more from him, but I think his route tree right now feels a little limited on what he's going to do. And then Cooper Perry, obviously, did he go to Penn State? He just didn't play?
I do not remember if he traveled or not. He didn't play.
I wonder if so is he going to redshirt?
I don't know. We'll see. I would need to look at his game log to see how many games he's actually played in. But
it's interesting because like, they gave him a fourth down throw against Oklahoma State. Like, they purposely gave it, so they were giving him things to do, and he kind of just wasn't. So to me, it's just depth, right? Just trying to find a couple more guys. People were really worried about Tez Johnson leaving. Like, what are we going to do in the slot? They figured it out. Like, you're not the same offense every year. Like, you don't. Tez Johnson was valuable because that's what Dylan Gabriel was really good at. Now we have guys that can stretch the field. That's what Dante Moore is really good at.
Cooper Perry has played in 4 games, so if he
Yeah.
plays one more, he's
That's
not
what I was
redshirting.
kind
So
of curious about that. If he's going to do the redshirt thing after I didn't see him on the field at Penn State.
I think we'll find out this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a better chance that Casper ends up redshirting and
Interesting.
finding.
He was ruled
other
out for the Penn State game. I don't know if he traveled either, but he was on the injury report as out for the game. So,
yeah, I mean, I think for me, I think a lot of us knew Moore would at least be very reliable. He's obviously exceeded those expectations, but I think just the reliability and consistency that Benson and Bryant has had has been huge. I mean, those two turning into dependable second and third receivers have made this unit be probably a question mark at the start of the year to now, above average Big Ten wide receiver unit for sure. I mean, Bryant had some big catches in that Penn State game, 3rd down catches, obviously the game-winning touchdown. Benson's been reliable earlier in the year. So I think those guys at development have been huge in like upping the floor of that room, when there was a lot of slander in the offseason about those two guys. I mean, we saw it everywhere, like, your Duck Twitter crowd saying, oh, those guys are has-beens, those guys weren't highly recruited enough. Those guys are talented players that have battled injuries, but obviously are in an advantageous situation now.
yeah, I love that, Geoff, you said that people were telling you that Moore is different, that Dan Lanning doesn't play freshmen. You know what he never does is trot out freshmen for media availability, and that's what they did today with Dacordia Moore. It's the first time in Lanning's era they've allowed a true freshman to talk to the media, which I thought was, it kind of just showed you how much trust they have in him, that not only to play, but also to be one of the faces of their program, which I think is awesome.
Did Dan get asked about that?
Yeah, I asked him. He said he's just someone that I think is playing a big role for us, and I think he deserves to be in this spotlight. Okay, awesome. I agree.
I mean, having just talked about Davison, Hill, Moore, all true freshmen, it's good times knowing you're going to have those 3 for the next 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else you want to see more of from the receiving core going forward? Again, it's nitpicking.
I mean, don't slip on 4th down against who was that a couple weeks ago? He slipped and fell down. I don't know. Just I think it feels like we're doing the right things. I don't know how many criticisms for them.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't say it's like I need to see. I'm curious to see, kind of to Jeff's first point, who's going to be that like 5th, 6th guy as the season goes, who you're bound at some point to have a guy get nicked up, dinged up, have to miss a quarter, if not a game. And like, who's going to be that next guy in the rotation after those first 4? Obviously Justice is probably the bet if he can get healthy, but I mean, they clearly love Perry a lot. And I don't think Dan's afraid to burn a guy's red shirt if he thinks he's going to help him win.
No, completely agree. All right. Tight end feels like another kind of obvious answer.
Well, it's so interesting because I just want them to use the tight ends more, which is insane because they already use them a lot. Like, so he doesn't have a ton of catches, but he's just an all-world tight end. I mean, he's as good as they come, blocking, tackling. I mean, not tackling, blocking, catching, run after the catch. I mean, all those things. And Johnson's done a good job when asked to fill those shoes every now and then. Maybe you would say that you want to see a third. I mean, 83 is trying his best. I mean, it's just not those two guys, obviously. And even like, I don't even know 44's name. I probably feel bad about that. But when he comes, is that his name, Zach Grace? Yeah. When he comes in, like, he balls too, man, from that fullback position when he comes in. Yeah. So like, I think right now those tight ends are wonderful. It's really hard to play 12 personnel. If you're a defense, you don't know to treat it as big or small. They do a really good job of moving them around and giving everyone different looks. And there's not much negative there. I mean, I think all the things that we know about Sadiq and how good he is we see every week on film.
Yeah, I think they're like waiting for the opportunity to break out. And I think it could be this weekend, given the matchup, to like break out the true like 12 personnel and then just like hammer a team in that and catch them. Either if a team goes into nickel, run them to death with those two blockers. I mean, Johnson and Sadiq block like freaking tackles do.
I know.
So what they can do in the run game with those two, and then also if a team needs to beef up a little bit, like I think at some point you're going to see those guys get let loose a little bit down the field. And like as much as we love on Sadiq, I mean Johnson is a threat down the field with the ball. We've seen kind of little flashes with it beyond the shovel pass that gave us all a heart attack. So I don't know. I think at some point this year, Stein's going to show like that drive we've all been waiting for, where he just like no subs a team and pounds them down the field in 12 personnel.
Yeah, I would really want to see more of what Johnson could do because we saw him as a recruit. He was really good. I saw some flashes of it at Louisville. I mean, the dude is so big. Like I think he's much bigger in person than you really think when you see him on the screen. But we know what Sadiq can do. But I think Johnson has a different athleticism that really could open up this offense.
Well, look, this week's a good test. I think Indiana with their linebackers, like I don't know if they could run terribly well. They're good against the run in the box. Like this to me feels like a very outside the tackles game, and you really set matchups well with those tight ends. So it would be a good weekend to use that. They're just so multiple on offense, man. It's so much fun to watch.
All right, this is what I really want to hear. What is the best thing you've seen from the offensive line so far?
Two things really stand out. One is Poncho. His ability in the middle to just get everyone on the same page is really advanced. I know I highlighted it in the Oklahoma State game where I think it was Oklahoma State where the guy came down and he's able to identify. It was Oklahoma State. I forget what game it was where he's able to identify a guy coming out of the sky and knowing exactly who to go to. There, maybe it was Oregon State game, and we saw against Penn State just great communication, like unbelievably great. Good snap counts, good communication. Like it just was so well done. And I think his presence in the middle is so reassuring for everyone. People wonder, okay, this offensive line came together pretty fast. How are they playing so well? Well, it's Poncho. It's he's doing the job and making sure that this group is playing really well together. So, and then I think I just, I think I told you guys.
Oh, did you lose him?
Lost your audio for a sec, Geoff.
A lot of no, I'm. Oh
no, you're back.
Sorry.
You're back.
You got me. Sorry, my FaceTime was happening and my computer was all going.
It happens.
Sorry. Yeah. And so to me, like Harkey, I didn't think he was good enough to play tackle and pass protection. I still think there's some issues there, but dude, his physicality, man, like he is such a physical player, and that type of attitude really permeates itself through the offensive line. So those kind of two things I've been really impressed with. And the other thing too, I think, is that we can do many different things, and that's important, right? We can run vertically, we can double team, go straight up the field. We can go laterally, we can get out in space and do screens. And so the ability to do all those things really makes a complete offense.
I want to ask you about Poncho. How comparable is he to JPJ from a couple years ago? I mean, they're both elite centers. I don't know how different they are. I don't have a trained enough eye on the offensive line, but what do you see when you kind of compare those two?
They're just not the same player. I mean, JPJ is like a massive human, like just tall and thick chested, and probably a better athlete than Poncho. Poncho just is a brawler, man. Like he just knows what he knows what he does well, and he focuses on doing that. They're not the same prospect or player. JPJ's, I think, just better. I mean, it doesn't mean Poncho's bad at all. I think JPJ is just a better pro prospect. Like Poncho probably does not have a long NFL career because of his size, but what he does on the field is so valuable for this Oregon offense.
Geoff, we had a question earlier in the day that I thought you could answer better than me. I'm assuming you've rewatched the Penn State game. How did you feel like after the fact, like Harkey and World held up against those ends?
I think it was about what I expected. There were some individual losses. Harkey got beat inside a couple times, but there's something going back to Dante Moore, man. Like one thing that's important about quarterback play, that's like the next step in quarterback play, is knowing your outs when things go bad. And it felt like Dante Moore always knew his out. Like he knew that if the pass rush came, I could go move here and find someone here, or move here and find someone. Because it wasn't like he didn't get sacked, but it wasn't like there was no pressure. He just was able to manipulate the pocket and know where that was coming from. Look, the thing with the world, man, I've been kind of surprised to see just, I thought he would be stronger. I knew there was questions on film. I mentioned those to you guys about it, and he's just not there yet. I think some of it's just technique wise, a little sloppy sometimes. But he held up pretty well. Like there was that one, it probably was holding, it wasn't called, it happens. Otherwise, he wasn't that bad. When guys try to take the edge on him, they just can't do it. So guys just run down his chest and try to get him out of position. The one holding he got, he tripped over someone. That was fine. It happens. I pulled the guy down as he went down too. But I thought we were fine. Look, the Penn State UCLA game means nothing to what happened in Happy Valley between Oregon and Penn State. Like there's two different teams playing, right? And for what we heard about how good Penn State's defensive line is, it really did not affect the passing game at all for Oregon. So I think that's a plus for the tackles.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
go ahead, Travis.
I was just going to say to that point about Dante. I mean, you just see how much quarterbacks play a role in not only sacks, but just maneuvering the pocket, knowing where the blitz is coming from, stuff like that. I mean, you compare Dante to a guy like Damon Williams at Washington, who is a crazy freak athlete, but takes more sacks than almost anyone in the country because his ability to maneuver, know where pressure's coming from, navigate that pressure, know your hot read, stuff like that is just completely on a different level. So I think a lot of times guys attribute how good of an athlete someone is with how easy they are to sack. And it's in reality, that's just not the case at all. I think Dante, not that he's a bad athlete, is the perfect example of that in a game like Penn State.
Yeah, Damon Williams, our Heisman favorite. It's not quite going that way, is it? It's unfortunately for Washington.
Well, good thing they beat, Maryland, the championship.
Come on, Maryland. Being up 20-0. Come on, Maryland. You're better than that. Let's go.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap up the offense. I'm just curious, a few quick hitter questions. Most impressive position, the biggest surprise, and how can the offense as a whole get better from here to the end of the season?
I mean, the most impressive position is probably the depth at running back, right? I mean, look, we're throwing out Dante Moore. That's an easy answer. But to me, the depth at running back, it's been really special to see those guys roll in and be able to play. You said do you have a disappointing, you said?
No, biggest surprise, and then how they can get better as a whole.
Yeah, I think better. I think there's things on the offensive line. I think individually some guys can get better. Like right guard can be a weakness. You got to get better there. And then it's so hard because they have no negative plays ever. I don't even know what to. I don't know what would be better than just being individually more consistent up front. I think you mentioned sometimes Dante Moore might want to hang in the pocket a tad second longer. I don't know. We're so nitpicky.
Yeah, maybe stop getting to 4th and 1 and just get it on 3rd down instead. That's what I would say.
The diving, I'm a big fan of diving forward, not sliding for that reason.
Uh-huh.
And the slide, man, they mark you where you start your slide. Mm-hmm. It's a long way further back than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I think that we've struggled a bit running the ball in the interior against Northwestern and Penn State. Once again, it's nitpicky, but that was an issue we've had over the last couple of years that I'd like to see us clean up. I think that that's naturally a tough one because I think our best running backs just are better runners outside, like we've talked about. I think Hill and Whittington, their fit better is probably on the outside. So it's kind of a tough question to answer anyways. But I think that for your Lamars of the world, that's probably where he does a better job. I mentioned it earlier. I mean, I think just wide receiver was probably my biggest question mark when it came to the offense going into the year. So I think the consistency and just top 4 of those guys turning into reliable, dependable targets has been huge. What was the last one, Zach?
How can they get better?
Interior run game, I'll say.
That's fine. We'll go with that. Let's go to the defense. I'm going to start with the interior defensive line. What's the best thing you've seen from this group so far?
You know what it is? It's two things. The first one is Bear Alexander did not start week 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was a wake-up call to him, but he was a beast against Penn State.
You're so
and
good.
The improvement from him with him and Washington together, I think we're seeing too, they're just more disruptive inside this year. They're the way we play those guys, we need to hold off basically the offensive linemen And we've done that in the past, but now they're kind of doing that and being disruptive. Like they're causing issues with offensive linemen inside. So that to me just has been very impressive. They're keeping those guys off the linebackers, which did not happen in some of the games last year, and it led to some big runs. So I think I've just been impressed with the improvement we've seen inside from Washington, obviously, but also just Bear. I mean, that adds an element. He didn't start the first couple of games. He didn't play a ton in those first couple of games. It was a lot of Gray in Washington and who was the Green. So to me, I think the improvement of Bear Alexander is such a big addition.
Mm-hmm.
Just having 4 bodies there that are like huge dudes that are playing at a passable level. I mean, you get such a bigger like yield on your return when you have guys you can rotate there. I mean, the last thing you want to be doing is playing guys 50, 60 snaps on the interior. So I think you've seen from especially Bear, Green, Gray, because they've been rotating more with Washington more as a consistent guy. Like those guys have been in the, I don't know, Zach, you do the snap counts, but I feel like they're like 30 to 40 range to where like you're saying, hey, Bear, like go wreck a few drives. We don't need you to be playing all game, just go wreak some havoc out there. And you saw what he could do against Penn State. So I think just like having 4 guys at that spot where you lose 3 NFL draft picks who are all like contributing at a high level, and somehow we're talking about this unit being possibly better.
And then, by the way, so Dan told me that he only wants guys inside to play 40 snaps max a game.
Yeah, he told us that
well. Obviously,
now,
obviously, the Penn State game, you might just extend those guys. It's just the way it works. The other guy I want to mention, so Breland is the third down pass rush guy. Mm-hmm. He was Penn State. They were like, he got home a little bit. He didn't get home and sack Allard, but like he's getting better. He's not getting a ton of reps. It's hard just to be the third down guy. But he's showing a little bit more every game he gets to play.
Yeah,
is he a guy, Geoff, from what you've seen? Is he a Mateo replacement? Can he play there next year? Or is he an interior guy?
No, I think his goal is just to get stronger and be an interior guy.
He feels more like a Dorless to me. Can kind of
Dorless
play
or
that.
Like a Dorless or Derek Hampton type guy.
Got it.
Yeah. All right, let's go out to the edges. Mateo, Tatum, Blake. There's still a lot of guys, but what's the best thing you've seen so far?
So to me, the best thing is their run defense this year is 100 times better. Mm-hmm. Last year, tackles were able to capture the edge pretty well on these guys. They had bad eyes. They would peek inside. They would not keep that edge. I feel like both defensively, they are keeping the edge much better this season, and it's preventing a lot of runs from getting outside. That was our weakness last year, was outside runs, and it's preventing those runs from getting outside. So I think the effort those two have showed, and they're mostly, they're basically just playing 2 guys. The effort those two have showed in run defense to me has been very impressive.
Is that a technique thing? Is it skill? Is it effort? What do you see?
I think it's skill, and also just they look stronger this year.
Okay.
I mean, it's their 3rd year. Like they look more mature and they look stronger. They don't put a ton of backups in. I know Purchase plays a little bit. He's sort of a hybrid off the ball guy, on the ball guy. I mean, who would be the 4th D end?
They've kind of gone Wyatt, the true freshman.
Rushing plays a little bit.
They've got Porter a little bit. Porter, rushing,
yeah. So,
but those guys haven't played much.
Yeah, so those 2 dudes, man, they're studs.
Well, and Tatum's ability to play the read option against Penn
incredible.
State, like when he awesome. He just kind of played both guys, and then
it also tells you
Aller.
I think Aller's not as good as athlete as we think.
Well, I think that's a different conversation, but I think we all agree there.
Yeah.
Well, just to leave it on Penn State for a second, I think just you contrast the way that we look defending their like run game last year to this year, and it's night and day. But it's because of that edge. I mean, they just had the edge all day on us last year. Outside zone, that toss play they kept running, that's, jet sweep fake that they ran to death on us. I mean, all those, they were running all that same stuff a couple weeks ago. Like, I vividly have it ingrained into my mind. But the way that Mateo and Tatum held the edge and defended it was just night and day.
Geoff, where can they get better? I know an easy answer is like, you want to see more sacks, you want to see more pressure.
Yeah,
they haven't really been in a position where the quarterback's dropping back a lot. So where do you see?
I mean, I think it's just the Indiana right tackles are going to have a problem this weekend.
I think so too.
Tudium just is never going to be a great pass rusher. Just like is what he's going to win off effort. I think the only thing is I just want to see some young guys get some action, but you can't take these guys out. I mean, I think the depth is a concern. Like if one guy goes out, the depth there takes a huge hit. So just maybe just hopefully young guys can get some action. I don't think they play bad when they get in though. So like there's some juice there with these young guys.
Yeah, completely agree. Linebackers, I think there's been it's surprising to me how thin this room is. They played 3 guys and that's it. But I think those 3 guys have been pretty solid.
Again, I think linebackers are our biggest weakness on the team.
Agreed.
I think they're fine. Jackson just doesn't read runs very well. And I think Mixon's better. I don't know why Mixon doesn't play more. I'm obviously not I don't really know why. That's not my decision to make. And Betcher is what he is. He's going to tackle a ton, but he's not going to I was telling Dan Rubinson, I think you had Dan on last week. Like there were a couple plays in the Penn State game where if we just had a bigger middle linebacker, like a real one of these guys that we've been waiting to play. Like there were plays that Penn State would have been stopped on 4th down. Like Betcher's there. He's just not big enough to make those plays against an NFL running back, And so that I think is where our weakness still is on defense. But they do the right thing. They're not out of position. And look, the way that we pressure takes a lot of pressure off them. When you a linebacker that's like Devin Jackson, that's super fast. Like he's a blitz guy. Like just blitz him. Like just have him create havoc and be fast and get on the edge. So, I'm surprised there hasn't been more development there. I know there were some young guys they liked. Williams had been hurt though, so they're fine. They're better than last year. Put it like that, which is a positive.
I think this weekend will be an interesting test for them. Geoff, I don't know how many how specific you can get into it, but I know with Indiana, like that RPO offense they like to run, I think that obviously hinges a lot at your linebacker play. So I think that those guys will be tested. And I think that Cignetti being a good coach, I'm sure he notices the same thing we do with a guy like Devin Jackson and probably is going to try to identify him and go at him a little bit. So I know he's been dinged. I know there's been some injuries coming off the offseason. I think he had a somewhat limited offseason, but he flashed a lot last year. I mean, as you said, the athleticism is no question there, but there's a lot more of the linebacker that goes into that. So just like finding an opportunity for him to have success, whether it's as a rusher, like you mentioned, or otherwise. Yeah. But I think I trust Indiana's staff as a really well-coached team to identify that weakness of ours, just like we are. So I'm curious how those guys will look this weekend.
Cornerback, the youth has been incredible. I think they've got a pretty good rotation.
I just don't think anyone's going to throw in us all season. It's just not going to happen.
This week we'll find out. I think they've got the best receivers. We'll see. But
Mendoza throws the ball so quickly. It's just are they going to be able to hold up for 3 seconds? They're so long. Look, we're playing a ton more zone this year. It's very clear that I think it's a good adjustment by the team. We have to prepare to play Ohio State, and you can't play man coverage against Ohio State. So we're playing a ton of zone this year. And one thing we're doing is that 3 safety Tampa 2, which actually takes the pressure off the linebackers to have to read things in the middle of the defense, and it puts obviously on the safety to make the play. But I think our corners have just done a fantastic job, man. They're where they need to be. They all tackle well. It was a big tackle. Finney had a great tackle in the game on a 3rd down, I think, or 2nd down, a great tackle on one of the running backs against Penn State. They're just good, man. And they're fast and athletic, and they rotate a lot too, which is kind of nuts. But and they're tall. They're everything you want in corners. It's been very impressive to watch. It's a big difference when your defense doesn't get beaten immediately at the cornerback position.
Yeah, just the physicality that Finney and those guys defend the run with. Kennedy, he's a small dude. He's 5'10", probably 170, and he was shedding blocks against Penn State, making tackles on the edge. I think that's been another piece that's contributing to us being so much better defending the run this year. Outside has been those guys' physicality they're playing with. I'm interested to see this weekend. I think Surratt and was Cooper? Is that the other receiver?
Cooper.
I think they'll take some shots. They'll probably have to be quick, like Geoff mentioned. But I hope we see some opportunities this week for Finney and Iffy and Theron to make some plays out there.
It feels like we've just been waiting every week. Like we thought against Oklahoma State, we're like they throw the ball a lot. They might throw. No, Penn State. But they've got 2 new receivers. They'll try and throw. No, like will Indiana? I don't know. They may just
I
like
mean,
Jeff
They,
said,
they
people
might
may
have
not all
to.
year.
And the
Yeah,
one
that's true.
play that Penn State made, that was on a safety. They got a safety
Yeah,
on
yeah. Lope a
on the wide
bit.
receiver.
Thieneman
Yeah,
got burnt a little bit.
yeah.
is there a stat out there, Zach? Like, has Brandon Finney I can't even picture somebody catching the ball against him this year.
There was one, I think we talked about it last week. Eric Scopel brought it up, or he tweeted. I don't have it in front of me, but he had allowed like something like 4 catches maybe on I
Yeah,
think like
that's
18
correct.
targets. Like it was very very slim,
Crazy.
and for a true freshman to be doing that, just incredible. Safety, I think it's been super impressive to see. I know Jeff, you've touched on this, like Aaron
Yeah.
Flowers and just their ability to play the run and just come up and be hitters and not just pass protectors or
It's
playing the pass.
it's such a big difference in the run game. The biggest difference, in my opinion, between college offense and college defense and NFL defense is the ability for the safeties to play in the run game. In the NFL, they're always in the box. In college football, they're rarely in the box. And our guys, dude, they freaking fly downhill. Reckless abandon. They're making tackles. Even when they run that safety Tampa, like those guys are playing middle linebacker essentially, making plays. And again, they're rotating. They play about 10 guys, right? In that secondary, and every one of those safeties, man, is willing to tackle and make plays. And I mean, we haven't even been tested. Like no one's trying to throw the ball down the field at all on us. So we haven't really had to even see them in pass coverage. I think this weekend we'll get a bigger test of that, but. Again, they're playing a ton of zone, man. They're playing a ton of 2-high zone and just keep everything in front of them. And part of it is like I think Indiana will get yards between the 20s, but when you get inside the 20s, man, as the field condenses down, and with the speed of our defense, you're not going to get a lot of points in the red zone against us. It's just going to be hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got a slight flashback with Thieneman getting kind of beat over the top against Penn State the one time down the field. I mean, I think that's obviously been our weakness the last couple of years, was teams that could exploit us, out of the slot or with some speed guys down the field and getting matchups on safeties. So I know Indiana likes to do some of that stuff out of the slot as well. So I'm interested to see how our safeties and Kennedy kind of hold up when it comes to that. I mean, I don't know how anyone could be anything but happy about this group so far. And I think the implementation of that 3 safety look is just like another wrinkle in there. And I think you got guys that are obviously willing tacklers, physical players between those 3 who, aren't afraid to come downhill, but have shown so far they can hold up down the field. We just got to, ultimately we'll probably know in December how well they really hold up.
It's such a nice change to like have so much confidence in this safety position. I mean, all due respect to Evan Williams and Kobe Savage and guys like that, but
It's different.
man, that's one of the best positions on the team, and I don't think you could say that since Javon Holland was here.
Yeah, it's just different.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap up defense. Same way we did offense. Most impressive position, biggest surprise so far, and how can they get better going forward?
I mean, I think the most impressive position has probably been our corners. I mean, they've just been great. Biggest surprise has to be Washington, right? I mean, how well he's never really played, and to come in and play that well early on. And the improvement, I mean, look, I just think that rushing the passer with 4, I mean, that's always preferred to do that. And they can just continue to build on just being individual pass rushers, not having to bring pressure all the time.
Yeah, I'd go. I thought Tatum had kind of maxed out who he was going to be, but I think he's like taken his play, even though there's some like physical limitations there. I think at times, I think his play has just been incredible. I think he's been a huge surprise for me, run game, even rushing the passer. Biggest surprise for me just has to be Finney. I mean, we heard about it in the fall, but it's like just insane what he's been throughout the year. And then I think just moving forward, we just need a third playable linebacker. I hope it's Devin Jackson, but whether it's, we loved what we heard about Braden Platt all offseason. He just hasn't been healthy.
Yeah.
Dylan Williams was hurt. I think Kamar Matudi still seems like he's not moving that well. He has a huge knee brace on. Like, I think all those guys have just battled injury, but we need someone else to step up there. I mean, God forbid Mixon or Betcher goes down right now. We're in a tough spot.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the I would almost say the secondary as a whole has been the most impressive for me. I know that's kind of a cheating answer, but like the quarterbacks and safeties, they've all just been so good compared to what we knew going into the year.
Yeah.
I'd almost say that the biggest surprise is the defensive line and the rush defense. Like we had major questions about them going into the Penn State game, and the way that they stepped up, like that, I wouldn't say shocked me, but I was like, whoa, I did not see that coming for them to be that good. Then I agree, the linebackers just that'd be where they can get better. I think that's probably, like Geoff said, one of the biggest weaknesses on the team right now. I'm kind of scared for what that could look like come December.
Let's look, maybe young guys get some more run as they get healthy. So hopefully we can see some. Look, I mean, Nick's played very sparingly early in the season. He looked fine when he played, but obviously,
He's a big guy,
playing a true
too.
freshman at that position is kind of hard to do, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get to some Indiana real quick. Jeff, I want to get your quick thoughts on Indiana. What did you see in this game before we get out of here?
I mean, look. So here's a question: like, how many players in Indiana would start at Oregon?
We talked about this last night. I said like maybe 2.
Like who? Surratt maybe would be one. He's played one of the wide receivers probably.
I'd say
thought
Surratt and then
Surratt.
probably Pons, maybe. I don't know. Even are you putting Pons over either freshman?
I don't think. I think it's Kamara. Maybe Kamara. Is he better than Tatum?
Yeah. I don't know. He's smaller. The thing is, like, I know saying this after Penn State just lost to UCLA is maybe a bad way to look at a game, but like we're just better. I don't know like how else to say that. Like we are just better, and we have yet to see this team play with a lack of focus in any single game. So there's going to be no hangover. There's going to be complete focus, and also too just the bigness of the game, right? Like game day is going to be there. You know, CBS Sports is bringing their entire crew out to Austin to do the game as well, the pregame show. It's a top opponent, and they play a ton of zone. Dante Moore's great against zone. Their defense to me collectively is good, but like individually, they don't win a ton rushing the passer individually. You know, like there's ways to. I think Dante Moore is a big game. I think he throws for 300 yards. I think there's a lot of opportunity in this game for him to get the ball down the field the way Indiana plays. So, and again, like if they have to pass the ball at all in this game, they just don't have a chance, right? I mean, their offensive line I think can hold up against us. So I feel pretty good about where we're at right now and heading this game. I think we're better, and I mean you win, but if our team is focused on the goal of beating Indiana, we're going to be fine.
Geoff, I know people are worried about, given that I think he was an All-American last year, like Kamara is going to give World some trouble. But from my understanding, limited of offensive line, like Kamara's a small dude. That's not the type of guy that would give World like problems with power.
I mean, if he gets under him, he certainly can. But the thing is, I watched Indiana play Illinois and watched him play Iowa. Like, I don't see a ton of individual one-on-one wins for their defensive line and pass pro when they're going, again, like having a one-on-one. They win with movement, line stunts, pressures. So I'm not really worried about like one-on-one head up against Isaiah World. That's not my concern. If they move a little bit, sure. You know, I think you go after Luley and you just try to get him into space and see what he does there. But again, like we just played Penn State on the road. We're not going to face a pass rush like that the rest of the season. I don't even know what the best example. I mean, USC rushed the passer pretty well, but I guess I don't know who that team would even be right now. So I'm not that concerned about it. And look, if you win first and second down, it makes third down much easier, right? And so if we win those downs, I think we'll have an opportunity to make some plays. So I'm curious how much they let Mendoza throw the ball down the field. The RPO stuff is great, but again, like if we play man coverage to that, we are corners on the wide receivers. You play some zone, maybe there's a little bit of opportunity there, but we'll see how that ends up working out.
Yeah, Travis and I talked about it yesterday. I love the spot that Oregon's in right now. Like they went on the road and this team plays really well when they have a chip on their shoulder and they're trying to like prove it. And they went on the road and proved it. And then of course they had the bye, and then Penn State did what they did. And now it's like they have to prove it again for whatever reason when they just did.
So
Nothing's
dumb.
changed. This team's still really, really good. It's like, all right, now people are doubting them for whatever reason just because the team they beat they beat them twice. And so I was like, all right, I love this team with a chip on their shoulder at home with game day. Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be wild. The atmosphere is going to be nuts. I mean, Indiana looked, they played the better teams on the road, but they're just not as good on the road. Like they just haven't been as good on the road. They haven't been as impactful on the road. And so I'm curious to see that environment again this weekend, how it impacts them.
Yeah. Students were back too. Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Travis, you got anything before we get out of here?
No, fired up for Saturday. Like you said, I mean, big,
fun.
pretty dang big national stage, and I think
Absolutely.
you typically don't see Lanning shy away from leveraging that however he can. So
No, I'm sure he
Ready-
will
ready
do
to
just
rock and roll.
fine with his pregame speech.
yeah.
All right, let's wrap things up there. Thank you all for tuning into our live show. Thank you again to Geoff for hopping on with us for this mid-season check-in. I think I speak for myself and Travis when I say that we are thrilled to have you with Ducks Rising and do the film room each week. That continues to be like the single best piece of content in the Oregon media
Nice.
sphere. So
Awesome. I'm glad to
we
do it.
really appreciate your hard work. Outside of that, though, let's go have a fun weekend. We'll be back on next week to break down the Indiana game. We'll catch you guys then.
See ya.